Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Good to see all of you. I think this is my first Simchat Torah not in a tie. I'm okay with it. I'm hanging new normal, right? Wow, Rabbi Bronstein's clapping, so that I know we're at a new stage in our evolution as a synagogue. Everybody, welcome. It's so good to see you here. I have a couple of things we're going to say first. Very, very, very first thing to do. Look in your area, someone who you do not know, and introduce yourself. Don't shake your hands unless you have permission, but you can elbow bump or fist bump if it's okay with your partner. But meet one person who's new. Share your name, where you're from. You have to meet one new person or family. You'll be tested. Wonderful. The next thing, oh, they're still talking. The next thing we will ask, has everybody, you all have met somebody? Yeah? Yeah. Good. Next thing that's very important. So you can use the restrooms in the building if you need. This white door right in front of us is open, and you can go to the back and to the left where our restrooms are, or you can choose to go to the little booth right next to that red SUV. Not in the SUV, to the left of it. The other thing is, you've met somebody new. You know where the restrooms are. We're going to tell you to take care of yourselves, right? If we feel concerned, you have hand sanitizer and such over there. If you need some water and you didn't bring some water, you can go inside. The water fountain isn't working, but we can help you with a cup inside the kitchen. And this is going to be a time that is supposed to be joyous. It's supposed to be where everybody's just coming together and gathering and dancing with our Torah scrolls. And we're going to be working hard to keep everybody safe again. So we're going to do some of what we often do, a tiny, some of our prayers, just a few. And we are going to have some friends join us and bring some incredible klezmer music. If you don't know what klezmer is, you'll be introduced to it tonight. An important part of Jewish communal life for a long time now. We're going to be unrolling one of our Torah scrolls all the way open. Some of our students are going to be doing some sharing with us. And after we have our own encounter with Torah, over and over and over again, but as one community. And then instead of doing our dancing like we usually do, instead of passing the Torah, we're going to have the joy of some of this klezmer music. So we're going to share a little Torah, learn a little Torah, and hear some wonderful festive music. So I'm going to invite Holly to start our service.
Chag Sameach, everyone. We begin with a nigun, a wordless melody. The words are yai lai lai, yai di di di, whatever you want. It's a way of expressing all sorts of emotion without words. And it goes like this. Yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai lai. And see, it's really cool because I get to just be backed by a klezmer band. They just play along. So I'm having fun, we're all having fun, it's full of joy. Let's do it again. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai. Last time, a little bit faster. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai lai lai. Yai lai lai.
Wonderful.
Thanks, friends.
Please rise for Baruch Hu.
Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. And we continue with Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu. We listen and we acknowledge that God is one. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu. Adonai Echad.
Our ark has been transformed to this table. We take out the Torah to bring it amongst us. We share some of our prayers. And then we're going to, I'll tell you exactly what we'll need to do. So let's do that first. I'm going to have as many people who would like to start over here, stay on the inside of the tent, and go all the way around, probably till right around that side. We're going to make a straight line, or your family can be in a clump, away from the next person. Okay? So if we can have a family start here, and then we're going to all make a line going all the way around. If you want to stay in the middle and have a seat, you can. One line, all the way around like a big horseshoe. You're doing great so far. In their area, I will call them, yes. I'm going to need you to go all the way around first. One line all the way around. Now our students are going to take a step forward because you're going to be doing some sharing from the inside. Take a couple of steps forward. All right. So our Genesis students are going to be around here, and then we're going to go all the way around. So if you're Genesis, you're going to be around here. Exodus will be right over there. Leviticus will start in the middle. Numbers and Deuteronomy. Wonderful. So now Holly's going to help us with some of our liturgy, and then we will start to unroll the Torah. The music will come back, we promise.
Ein Kamocha, is that where we are?
Yes.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai ve'ein kema'asecha malachutecha malchut kol olamim umemshaltecha b'chol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai oz le'amo yitin Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom av harachamim heitiv avirtzonecha et Zion tivnei chomot Yerushalayim tivnei chomot Yerushalayim ki v'echad levad batachnu melech el ram v'nisa Adon olamim ki mitzion tetzei Torah ki mitzion tetzei Torah Udevar Adonai mirushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo Gadlu Ladonai Iti Uneromema Shemo Yachda.
So this is what we're going to do. As we unroll the Torah, there's going to be some music playing. And when the Torah gets to you, all you need to do is take your fingers and very carefully hold the top. Just hold the top, right? You can hold one hand on the top, one hand, oh, thank you very much. One on the bottom, but what you don't want to do is have, like, really grab it or crumple it, and certainly not to touch any of the ink, right? Because we're going to protect that. So the kids are going to be, our students are going to be on this side, parents will be on the back. I'm going to start right around here, and we're going to unroll it, and we'll see how far it gets. We've never done it in a tent, so I'm not really sure how long it's going to go. But let's start, shall we? Here, you can take that off. Oh. Yeah. So, what's going to happen next, we're going to do a little bit of sharing about the Torah reading. Oh, I don't have it. Do a little sharing about what's in the Torah, and all of these students who are about to become B'nai Mitzvah, they're going to be doing some of the storytelling. And at the end of the storytelling and sharing a couple of other things that might be in the text, then we're going to read the very and then right away we're going to be doing the beginning of it in Genesis. So we took out one of our Torah scrolls with a really thick parchment. Don't be scared. This is a nice, strong, thick parchment. So, it would take a lot for it to be damaged. So you shouldn't worry, but we do want to be respectful and take care of it. Now, one thing I'll say is, I grew up in a Jewish for this. Not in a million years would they go for this. They would even say that it could be disrespectful. But one of the things that we've been saying to all of these students, all of you, whenever we gather together, is our lives are Torah. We shouldn't treat the scroll like it's a museum exhibit. It has to be a living Torah. So every once in a while, you need to have your hands on it. You need to be able to have a sense that this is actually yours and that it's ours. It's not just for the clergy. It's not just for the teachers, but it's for the entire community. So I love when we do this together. It has the moment that I have the most ajita, I confess. Do you know what ajita is? Sure. So, on one hand, it makes me a little nervous, but I think it's amazing. You're holding on to a scroll, and our students are about to read it, or share it, and we read from it all year long, and I think it's kind of precious. So, Catherine, do you want to go first? You want to help with, where's our wireless mic? We're going to have our kids do the thing first, and then we'll do the reading.
So we are going to start with the book of Breshit, of Genesis. Where are our Genesis folks? Okay.
In our Torah portion, it is the beginning, and God creates heaven and land, and animals, and light.
Don't forget the animals. Right. Here we go.
I think my Torah portion is about so Joseph, his brothers, threw him in a ditch, and they put blood on his coat to his father, so he thought he was dead.
That was a bummer. Don't do that.
Don't do that to your sisters.
Okay, I don't know if I'm next, but I'm here, so I'll do it. Okay, so in the part I read, Jacob was slowly dying, and Joseph brought his sons to come see Jacob.
Awesome.
And technically Jacob's grand.
Wonderful.
In the part I read, Jacob wrestled with God, and then he changed his name
To
Israel.
To Israel. I thought it was to George.
Exodus begins here.
Yes.
And then what happens is, so God tells Moses that they need to get out of Egypt. So then they go up to Pharaoh and say that they need to leave.
My portion starts off with a locust withering crops.
In my Torah portion,
I found a locust. Hang on.
they have escaped Israel, and they're building a sanctuary to praise God, and they bring gifts from the heart.
Bring gifts from the heart. Nadiv Lev. Love that.
My portion is on when Moses gathers up the Israelites and tells them what God told him on Mount Sinai, that they need to build a sanctuary for the Torah.
Beautiful. Awesome.
My Torah portion is about how God says, like, go to Mount Sinai and get 2 tablets and make some rules to live by.
And it's a good thing you just said that, because here's the tablets right here. You can see the 10 Commandments right over here. And this is the Song of the Sea, when they finally get across the sea and get to the other side. Awesome.
All right, my portion's about, like, the generations that will follow and rule God. And that, like, you need to wash your hands or else you're going to get the plague and die. Sound familiar?
Sounds familiar. You should always read the Torah. This could have been averted a long time ago. You're doing great. Are you next? Are you in Leviticus?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think that my Torah portion is about how you should follow the rules. You should follow, like, the 10 Commandments, and how you shouldn't eat any shellfish. That's all I can remember.
That was awesome. Meow.
I think my Torah portion was that they wanted to get into the Israelites' tent, so they had to make sacrifices.
So we're in Leviticus that starts over here, and a lot of this is about sacrifices, and that's how they got closer to God. Sort of like giving presents, but with a barbecue. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Numbers. And they, thinking of being in the desert.
They were sick of being in the desert?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What? They complained.
And they complained. Silly Jews. That's awesome. So the book of Numbers is starting right over here. And by the way, something that we'll be sharing too for each of you, this is the blessing about asking God to give all of you, all of us, ultimate peace. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May God protect you and watch over you, be kind to you and be gracious to you, and reach out to you with tenderness and give you shalom. Who's next?
Don't touch the ink.
That was in the Torah?
No.
So why don't you say what was in the
I
Torah?
was talking to you.
What I got was God told, I don't know who, about how to cure people.
How to cure people if they got sick. All right.
My part was about how when they were in the desert, they had these camps and they made up all these laws about, like, relationships and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh, that was a big one. Yeah, lots of laws about relationships.
Yeah, like God tells the Israelites tells Moses to tell the Israelites a bunch of like specific laws and stuff, and yeah.
You want to say something else? Go ahead.
One of the laws was if the wife ran away from the husband, they would capture them and then they go to a priest and then they drink water and then they get fat.
Okay.
Because they
Yeah. So, thank you. That is a much bigger conversation. So, since now you're like, what are we reading here? There's a section about the sota. And there's a ritual to, if somebody's suspected of adultery, that they have to drink this, dirty water. Huh? Yes, a woman. And if it was true, the body would change. And of course, it never happens. But it is part of the ancient world, and we have to figure out, how do we deal with these things that are supposed to be holy messages and sound really strange for our world?
Is it on? Okay.
Yeah.
My Torah portion is about relationships and the rules of marriage and divorce.
The rules of marriage and divorce. There's a lot of stuff in this book.
My Torah portion, it was towards the end. It was Moses giving a speech about the rules that the Israelites would have.
Yeah, so it's sort of like getting the Constitution before they went into the land of Israel.
Some of the stuff was a few Jewish holidays and kosher.
Yeah, there's that kosher thing again.
Yeah.
I share the same Torah portion as Levi, so I'm also about Moses and the commandments and stuff.
Very original.
Awesome. Fantastic. So let me show you a couple of things right over here. Here is... What's your question?
Is it just a coincidence, but this part of the part looks like a T and this part looks like an I?
Oh.
Is that just a coincidence? Or?
It's kind of a coincidence, but there's a lot of people who think that these coincidences aren't necessarily coincidences. So it might look like letters to you. For some of us, I can't look at that without thinking about the towers, because that was the Torah portion right after 9/11. And when we lifted up the Torah, for Hagbah, and we show everybody, all we saw was this little section, the way the person held it. So, we have lots of different ways to associate these things. Even what we thought was a funny part, there's lots of ways for us to look at how do we connect to this Torah, something that's been around for these thousands of years. And here we are in Boulder, Colorado in the 21st century. How do we connect the dots with it? So we might see letters, we might see the Twin Towers, we might see ourselves, we might see our lives. We might be holding a section like the Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, and seeing it kind of with those big letters right in front of us. And that's something that is part of all of our lives. Shema Yisrael, everybody listen. There's just one God. And not that God needs all of these praises, because I don't think God does, but wants us to be our best selves, and that's why we're here, to figure out and learn how to take care of each other. So whether it's about the Shema or the 10 Commandments, because it's mentioned twice, or it's going to be back over here in the book of Numbers, not just where there's a blessing, but even where Moses sees Miriam, his sister, as sick, and he says a prayer out loud, El na rafanala, please God, heal her. We have all of these different connections where we might say that to somebody, or me might want to bless somebody, or we might want to kind of learn our lessons and struggle and wrestle with God the way Jacob did, and he became Yisrael, the God wrestler. That's us, God wrestlers. I love that, right? Just like that. Do that again. You want to do that again? Perfect. So, now, I thank all of you students. I'm very, very grateful. I'm going to have all of our students who've been in the middle come and meet Catherine. So we are going to read from Deuteronomy, and then we're going to read from Genesis. Well, Deuteronomy is that way. We're going to start with Deuteronomy, then we're going to do Genesis, but there's a tradition for kids students, children who have not yet become B'nai Mitzvah, to actually say the blessing. So, Catherine is going to be bringing them all under this super cool purple tallis. Baruchu et Adonai Hamvorach, Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed, Baruch Adonai Hamvorach leolam va'ed, Baruch ata Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Who's first? Did you find the yod? Oh, you did. Can you hold it? Yeah. Double booty. Really close. All right, hit it.
Amen. Ve'ya'al Moshe me'arvot Moav el har Nebo Rosh ha'piska asher al penei Yereho Vayarehu Adonai et kol haaretz et hagilad Adan ואת כל נפתלי, ואת ארץ אפרים ומנשה, ואת כל ארץ יהודה, עד הים האחרון, ואת הנגב, ואת הכיכר, בקעת יריחו, עיר התמרים עד זוהר. ויאמר אדוני אליו, זאת הארץ אשר נשבעתי לאברהם, ליצחק וליעקב לאמור, לזרעך אתננה, חריתיך בעיניך ושמה לא תעבור. וימת שם משה עבד אדוני בארץ מואב על פי אדוני, ויקבור אותו בגר בארץ מואב, בארץ מואב מול בית פאור, ולא ידע איש את קבורתו עד היום הזה.
Yes.
Gotta find it just a second. Okay. ומשה בן 120 שנה במותו, לא קהתה עינו ולא גם לכו. ויבכו בני ישראל את משה בערבות מואב 30 יום, וידמו ימי וכי אבל משה. ויהושע בן נון מלאו החוכמה, כי שמח משה את ידיו עליו. וישמעו אליו בני ישראל ויעשו כאשר ציווה אדוני את משה, ולא קם נביא עוד בישראל כמשה, אשר ידעו אדוני פנים אל פנים, לכל האותות והמופתים אשר שלחו אדוני לעשות בארץ מצרים, לפרעה ולכל עבדיו ולכל ארצו, ולכל היד החזקה ולכל המורא הגדול אשר עשה משה לעיני כל ישראל.
Yasher Koach. So, the closing blessing. Amen. Yasher Koach. So for all of you students, we are excited for you. We're looking forward to your continued learning. We're so grateful that you shared some Torah with us today. We're all going to say to you, Yasher Koach. Ready? Yasher Koach. Yasher Koach is how we, instead of clapping during services or something like that, we say Yasher Koach, which basically means you should go from strength to strength. So, now the last word was, do we remember? Yisrael. It ends with a lamed, Yisrael. And the first letter over here is a bet. So a lamed plus a bet is? A lev. Right. Lev is heart. Lev is heart. And when we do something like this, it's all heart. Wonderful. Rabbi Bronstein is going to be Holly is going to chant first, and then our Rabbi Emerita, Rabbi Bronstein. I'm going to ask all of us, everybody in the room, to please follow Catherine, and let's make the Aliyah together. Ready? You don't need to do the repeat because we're all in it together. Ready? Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMavorach. Baruch Adonai Amvorach Leolam Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu et Torato Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim v'et haaretz V'haaretz hayta tohu vavohu v'choshech al pnei tehom v'ruach Elohim rachefet al pnei hamayim Vayomer Elohim yehi or vayehi or Vayor Elohim et haor ki tov Vayavtel Elohim ben haor uvein hachoshech Vayikra Elohim laor yom v'lachoshech kara halayla Vayi erev vayi voker yom echad.
Vaychulu hashamayim v'haaretz b'chol tzvam Vayachal Elohim bayom hashvi'i malachto asher asa vayishbot bayom hashvi'i malachto asher asa Vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayikadesh oto Kivo Shavad Mikom Lachto Asher Bara Elohim Lasot Ele Toldot Hashamayim V'haaretz Bihi Baram Beyom Asot Adonai Elohim Eretz V'shamayim B'chol siach hasadeh terem yiyeh ba'aretz B'chol esav hasadeh terem yitzmach ki Elohim tir Adonai Elohim al haaretz v'adam ayin la'avod et ha'adama ve'ed ya'aleh min ha'aretz v'yishka et kol pnei ha'adama vayitzer Adonai Elohim et ha'adam afar min ha'adama vayipach ba'pav Nishmat Chaim Vayhi Ha'adam Lenefesh Chaya.
Beautiful. The blessing for after. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher natan lanu Torah temet, v'chaye olam nata b'tochenu, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. So the end of Deuteronomy, we see the end of Moses' life and how God cares for him at the very, very end of his life, even though he doesn't make it into the land of Israel. And here we see creation, the beginning of creating light. And then the second part that Rabbi Bronstein shared was about Shabbat and about breathing life into the first human being, Adam. We start all over. The story never ends. Once it concludes, we start right back again. So now we need a little music, and we're going to do a whole lot of rolling. in the middle, come and join them. Feel free.
More? Good? More? All right. Let's just go backwards a little bit. Here we go. Like 146. Nacht in Gan Eden in Odessa. 1, 2, the Kostakowskis. Or do you want to do a who? Just 2 pages back, 141. 1, 2, 3, and...
friends, we wish all of you a Chag Sameach. Thank our friends who have been leading us with some music. They've been staying here all night with us. We hope everybody stays well. Thanks for being here with us.